Endless. Timeless. Unforgiving. Welcome to the Sahara Desert, the largest hot desert on Earth, and one of the most iconic landscapes on our planet. Spanning over 9.2 million square kilometers, the Sahara stretches across North Africa, touching 11 countries, from Morocco in the west to Egypt and Sudan in the east, blanketing nearly a third of the African continent in sand, stone, and silence. But the Sahara is more than just an expanse of dunes. It is an ancient canvas painted by time, weather, and the resilience of life. A place where golden sunrises kiss towering sand ridges. And lonely winds whisper stories of survival, trade, conquest, and lost civilizations. To many, the Sahara might seem lifeless. A sun-scorched wasteland of nothing but heat and dust. But that is only the surface. Beneath its harsh beauty lies a beating heart, filled with life, history, and mystery. A place where nomads journey across oceans of sand, following stars instead of roads. Where fossils of giant creatures lie hidden beneath layers of dust. And where mighty empires once thrived along trade routes carved into the earth by camel feet and human dreams. The name, Sahara, comes from the Arabic word, ar, meaning, desert, a fitting name, but hardly a full description. Because here, the term, desert, does not mean emptiness. It means challenge. It means adaptation. And above all, it means endurance. Every grain of sand has a story. Every gust of wind reshapes the landscape. And every creature that survives here is a testament to the power of nature, and the ingenuity of life. This is a place where days can reach temperatures above 50 degrees Celsius, and nights can fall near freezing. A land of extremes. A land of paradoxes. A land where survival is a constant battle, but also, a quiet triumph. The Sahara is a world within a world. A place of ancient secrets, unimaginable scale, and breathtaking beauty. In the chapters ahead, we'll journey deep into its shifting sands, discover its origins, its people, its past, and how this mighty desert is changing even today. To truly understand the Sahara, we must begin with its staggering scale and geographical diversity. Spanning more than 9.2 million square kilometers, nearly the size of the entire United States or the continent of China, the Sahara is the largest hot desert on Earth. It covers almost a third of the African continent, stretching across 11 countries, Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, Tunisia, and Western Sahara. The Sahara is not a uniform sea of sand. In fact, only about 25% of the desert is covered by sand dunes, known as ergs. These golden waves of sand are among the most iconic images of the Sahara, but the landscape is far more varied. Much of the Sahara consists of regs, or stony plains covered with gravel and rock, and hamadas, elevated plateaus of barren rock. These areas are dry and lifeless at first glance, yet they form the majority of the desert's surface. Interspersed among these harsh terrains are wadis, dry riverbeds that occasionally fill with water after rare rainfalls, and oases, life-giving green spots that have allowed civilizations to flourish despite the desert's hostility. Some of the most famous oases, like those in Siwa, Egypt, and Timmins, Algeria, have served as trading hubs and cultural centers for centuries. Topographically, the Sahara includes some of the highest and lowest points on the African continent. The Tibesti Mountains in Chad and the Hagar Mountains in Algeria rise dramatically from the desert floor, offering a striking contrast to the flat plains. Emi Kosen, an extinct volcano in Chad, is the Sahara's highest peak at over 3,400 meters. In contrast, the Qattara Depression in Egypt lies 133 meters below sea level, making it one of the lowest points in Africa. These dramatic variations in elevation contribute to the Sahara's unique weather patterns and ecosystems. Geologically, the Sahara is ancient, shaped by millions of years of climatic shifts, tectonic activity, and erosion. It has not always been a desert. Over 10,000 years ago, during the African humid period, it was a lush, green landscape filled with rivers, lakes, and grasslands. Evidence of this greener past is found in the form of fossils, prehistoric tools, and ancient cave art scattered across the region. The Sahara's geography has had a profound influence on human movement and settlement. Its vastness acts as both a natural barrier and a bridge, isolating cultures while also serving as a route for trade, conquest, and migration. The legendary trans-Saharan trade routes connected sub-Saharan Africa with North Africa and Europe, moving salt, gold, slaves, and ideas across unforgiving terrain. From the burning dunes of Morocco to the sun-scorched plains of Sudan, the Sahara's sheer size and stunning diversity of landforms make it one of the most awe-inspiring places on Earth. It is not just a desert, it is a world of extremes, a geographical giant whose presence defines the very shape of a continent. Imagine the Sahara not as a vast desert of sand and stone, but as a land of rivers, grasslands, and abundant wildlife. It may sound unbelievable, but this was the reality thousands of years ago. Long before it became the world's largest hot desert, the Sahara was green, vibrant, and full of life. Roughly 10,000 to 5,000 years ago, during a time known as the African Humid Period, the Sahara underwent a dramatic transformation. Thanks to a shift in the Earth's orbit, known as the Milankovitch cycles, monsoon rains moved northward, bringing life-giving moisture deep into the heart of the continent. This climatic change turned the Sahara into a vast savanna, supporting a wide array of plants, animals, and early human civilizations. Massive lakes, some larger than present-day Lake Victoria, covered regions that are now dry and barren. Lake Megachad, for example, was once one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world, stretching over 400,000 square kilometers. The Green Sahara teemed with life. Elephants, giraffes, crocodiles, hippos, antelope, and even fish thrived here. These animals are known not just from fossils, but also from the remarkable rock art left behind by ancient people. In caves and on stone walls, early artists carved and painted scenes of daily life, hunting, herding cattle, dancing, and swimming. These artworks, found in places like the Tastily Niger in Algeria and the Gulf Kabir Plateau in Egypt, are some of the most important archaeological evidence of the Sahara's green past. They speak of a society that adapted to and thrived in a rich and fertile environment. Human settlements flourished along the banks of rivers and lakes, supported by fishing, hunting, and agriculture. These early Saharan cultures built homes, developed tools, and began domesticating animals like cattle. Their presence in what is now barren desert shows how much the climate has changed. But around 5,000 years ago, everything began to change. The Earth's orbit shifted again, weakening the monsoon rains. As precipitation declined, lakes dried up, grasslands withered, and deserts began to take over once more. By around 3000 BCE, the Sahara was becoming the arid landscape we know today. As the desert expanded, people were forced to migrate, some moving south to the Sahel and others east toward the Nile Valley. This movement of people contributed to the rise of ancient civilizations such as Pharaonic Egypt, which may have benefited from the skills and knowledge developed during the Green Sahara era. Even today, remnants of this verdant past lie beneath the sand, fossilized bones, shells, riverbeds, and layers of rich ancient soil. Modern technology, including satellite imagery and deep core drilling, has revealed hidden river channels and buried lakebeds, proving that the desert once bloomed with life. The Green Sahara stands as a powerful reminder of how Earth's climate can shift dramatically over time. Where now we see desolation, there was once abundance. And perhaps, as climates change once more, the Sahara's story is not yet finished. When most people imagine the Sahara, they picture rolling sand dunes stretching endlessly to the horizon, and with good reason. These vast dune fields, known as ergs, are some of the most iconic and mesmerizing features of the desert. But sand dunes are just one part of the Sahara's incredibly diverse landscape. Sand dunes cover roughly 25% of the Sahara, but they vary greatly in size, shape, and movement. Some dunes, like the Star Dunes, can reach over 500 meters in height and form complex, multi-armed peaks due to winds blowing from multiple directions. One of the largest dune fields is the Grand Erg Oriental in Algeria, a sea of sand stretching over 600 kilometers. These dunes are constantly shifting, sculpted by the relentless desert winds, creating patterns that change from one day to the next. Beyond the sand lies the unexpected, rocky plateaus, gravel plains, and mountain ranges. These areas, called regs and hamadas, make up most of the Sahara. They are dry, wind-polished landscapes where only the toughest rocks and minerals remain, creating eerie, moon-like terrain. Then there are the mountainous regions, like the Hagar Mountains in southern Algeria or the Tibesti Range in Chad, where ancient volcanoes rise dramatically from the flat desert floor. These highlands provide rare habitats and offer glimpses into the Sahara's geological past. Scattered across the landscape are oases, lush islands of life where underground water reaches the surface. Here, palm trees, crops, and entire communities thrive, sustained by wells and springs that defy the harsh desert around them. From towering dunes that whisper with the wind to rocky plains that speak of ancient time, the Sahara's landscapes are as varied as they are vast. It is a place where the earth is in motion, shaped each day by the forces of nature. The Sahara is one of the harshest environments on Earth. Its beauty is matched only by its brutality. This immense desert is not just dry, it is a land of extremes, where survival requires resilience, adaptation, and ancient knowledge passed down through generations. Daytime temperatures in the Sahara can soar beyond 50 degrees Celsius (122 degrees Fahrenheit), turning the sand into a burning sheet of fire. At night, the same desert can become bone-chillingly cold, dropping below freezing in some areas. The daily temperature swing is immense, sometimes over 30 degrees Celsius (86 degrees Fahrenheit) in just a few hours. Rainfall is rare and unpredictable. Some parts of the Sahara go years or even decades without measurable rain. When it does rain, it often arrives as sudden, violent storms that cause flash floods, an ironic danger in such a dry land. Winds also shape the climate. The harmattan, a dry and dusty trade wind, blows across the desert from the northeast. It can create massive dust storms, reducing visibility to near zero and making travel or breathing nearly impossible. Despite these brutal conditions, life finds a way. Plants in the Sahara are drought-resistant and tough. Acacia trees, tamarisks, and desert grasses have deep roots that search for underground water. Some go dormant during dry seasons and burst into life with the slightest moisture. Animals have adapted as well. The fennec fox uses its large ears to regulate heat. The camel, often called the ship of the desert, can survive weeks without water, store fat in its hump, and close its nostrils to keep out sand. For humans, survival in the Sahara depends on ancient knowledge, tradition, and resourcefulness. The Tuareg, Berbers, and other desert nomads have mastered the art of life in this environment. They wear light, loose-fitting clothes to reflect sunlight and retain moisture. Their movements follow seasonal water sources and grazing routes for their herds. Oases are vital. These pockets of water allow communities to farm date palms, vegetables, and grains. Ingenious water management systems, such as underground canals called fogaras, have been developed to collect and distribute scarce water efficiently. In modern times, adaptation continues. Solar panels are now used in some areas to generate energy. Deep wells are drilled to access fossil water reserves buried beneath the sand, water that has remained underground for thousands of years. Yet, even with technology, the desert remains a difficult and unpredictable place to live. Climate change poses a new challenge. The Sahara is growing. The process of desertification, where fertile land turns to desert, is impacting the Sahel region on the southern edge of the Sahara. This threatens agriculture, displaces people, and puts added pressure on already scarce resources. To survive in the Sahara is to live in harmony with its rhythms. It demands patience, respect, and adaptation. In this unforgiving land of fire and wind, life endures not by conquering nature, but by learning to live within its bounds. Life in the Sahara may seem impossible to outsiders, yet for thousands of years, people, animals, and plants have not only survived here, but thrived. The Sahara is not lifeless. It is home to a rich mosaic of communities, cultures, and ecosystems, all shaped by the harsh environment and the rhythms of the desert. The human presence in the Sahara is ancient. Nomadic peoples like the Tuareg, Berbers, and Bedouins have lived in the desert for centuries. These groups have adapted to the harsh climate through a deep understanding of the land. They navigate vast distances using the stars, landmarks, and oral maps passed down through generations. Nomads live in portable tents made of woven goat hair, which keep out sand while allowing heat to escape. Their lifestyle revolves around the seasonal movement of animals and the availability of water. Camels, known as the ships of the desert, are central to this way of life, carrying goods, supplies, and people across long distances. In more permanent desert settlements, people live near oases, life-giving spots where underground water reaches the surface. These green patches allow for the cultivation of date palms, barley, wheat, and vegetables. Entire villages are often built around a single well or spring, and every drop of water is valued. Communities have developed sophisticated methods to manage scarce resources. In places like Algeria and Libya, ancient fogaras or qanats, underground water channels, still function today, delivering water from deep aquifers to farms and homes. Cultural life in the desert is just as rich as the landscape. Music, poetry, oral storytelling, and traditional crafts form the heart of Saharan identity. Tuareg jewelry, blue indigo robes, and intricate carpets are not only beautiful but also deeply symbolic, expressions of cultural pride, history, and spiritual belief. Religious faith plays a central role in daily life. Islam is the dominant religion across the Sahara, and small desert mosques often serve as community centers for prayer, teaching, and gathering. Call to prayer echoes even in the most remote areas, a reminder of unity across great distances. The animal life of the Sahara has also adapted to this harsh land. Camels, fennec foxes, desert hares, monitor lizards, and gazelles are just a few of the species found here. These animals are masters of conservation, of water, energy, and heat, surviving where others would quickly perish. Children grow up learning not just how to read and write, but how to read the land, understanding the wind, reading cloud patterns, and finding water in barren places. Their education blends tradition with modern schooling, often in open-air classrooms or tents. Life in the Sahara is shaped by adaptation, resilience, and community. Here, every resource is sacred, every tradition holds meaning, and every day is a lesson in survival. The desert does not give freely, but for those who understand it, it offers a deep and enduring connection to land, history, and spirit. In the vast emptiness of the Sahara, where the landscape seems endless and the environment unforgiving, one of the most remarkable human stories unfolds, the story of nomadic people and the ancient trade routes they carved across the desert. For centuries, these travelers turned isolation into connection, sand into commerce, and silence into cultural exchange. The nomadic peoples of the Sahara, particularly the Tuareg, Berbers, Moors, and Tubia, have long lived in harmony with the desert. These groups are not bound to one place. They move with the seasons, following grazing patterns for their livestock and the rare rains that sustain life in this arid land. The Tuareg, often called the blue people of the desert due to their indigo-dyed clothing, are among the most iconic nomads of the Sahara. Their knowledge of the terrain, weather, and stars made them essential to the success of long-distance trade caravans. For centuries, these nomads acted as guides and protectors for merchants traversing the ancient trans-Saharan trade routes, some of the most important trade networks in history. These routes connected sub-Saharan Africa to North Africa, the Mediterranean, and even Europe. The goods they carried were as diverse as the lands they came from. Gold, mined in places like ancient Ghana and Mali, traveled northward in vast quantities. In return came salt from Saharan mines like those in Tag Haza, a commodity so precious it was sometimes traded ounce for ounce with gold. Other items included ivory, slaves, spices, leather, textiles, and even manuscripts. These routes didn't just move goods, they spread ideas, languages, religions, and technologies. Islam, in particular, spread rapidly along these paths, as traders built mosques, schools, and libraries in the desert towns they passed. Major trading cities flourished at the crossroads of these routes. Timbuktu, Gao, and Agadez became centers of wealth, learning, and culture. They hosted bustling markets, vibrant religious communities, and great centers of Islamic scholarship. Nomads played a vital role in, but these trade networks weren't without risk. Sandstorms, heat, thirst, and attacks by raiders were constant threats. Caravans often traveled at night to avoid the scorching sun and took weeks, sometimes months, to reach their destinations. As sea trade grew in later centuries, the importance of overland routes declined. But the legacy of the nomads and their desert empires lives on. Even today, descendants of these traders continue to travel, trade, and preserve ancient ways of life, navigating the modern world with the same resilience their ancestors showed. In the silence of the desert, the whispers of history remain. The nomads and their caravans left invisible roads in the sand, paths that carried more than goods, paths that built civilizations. Their story is written not in stone, but in the ever-moving heart of the Sahara. The Sahara Desert, ancient and vast, may seem timeless, but even this mighty landscape is facing profound modern challenges. Today, the world's largest hot desert is at the center of a complex environmental and human crisis, where climate change, desertification, and human pressures are reshaping the future. One of the most visible impacts is the expansion of the desert itself. The Sahara is growing southward into the Sahel region, a fragile belt of land that separates the desert from the savannas. Every year, the Sahara creeps a few kilometers farther, swallowing grasslands and farmland in its path. This process, called desertification, is driven by both natural climate shifts and human activity, including overgrazing, deforestation, and unsustainable farming. When vegetation is stripped away, the soil becomes vulnerable to wind and erosion, eventually turning into desert. Climate change is accelerating these issues. Rising temperatures, irregular rainfall, and longer droughts are straining ecosystems and human communities alike. In some areas, rainfall has decreased by as much as 30% in recent decades. When the rain does come, it's often too intense, causing floods rather than nourishing the soil. For the people who live in and around the Sahara, these changes are devastating. Farmers struggle to grow crops. Herders find less pasture for their animals. Water sources dry up. As livelihoods vanish, people are forced to migrate, leading to overcrowded cities, resource conflict, and regional instability. In response, governments and international organizations are taking action. One of the most ambitious projects is the Great Green Wall, a massive initiative to plant trees across the Sahel, from Senegal to Djibouti. The goal, to restore land, create jobs, and slow desertification. Technology also offers hope. Solar energy farms are being developed in the Sahara, harnessing the region's sunlight to produce clean power. Remote villages now access drinking water through solar-powered wells, and satellite data helps monitor shifting sands and drought conditions. But progress is slow, and the challenges are enormous. Combating climate change and protecting the Sahara's fragile balance will require global cooperation, local innovation, and respect for traditional knowledge that has helped desert communities survive for generations. The Sahara may seem unchanging, but it stands at a crossroads. Its future depends not just on the winds and the sands, but on the actions we take today. In the heart of the desert, the struggle for survival is also a struggle for sustainability, resilience, and hope. Beneath the endless waves of sand and stone, the Sahara hides countless treasures, secrets of ancient civilizations, rare minerals, and priceless archaeological discoveries that reveal the rich history buried beneath its surface. One of the Sahara's most remarkable treasures is its ancient rock art. Found in places like Niger in Algeria and the Aquus Mountains in Libya, these thousands of years old paintings and carvings depict animals, humans, and scenes of everyday life during the era when the desert was green and fertile. Archaeologists have also uncovered remnants of early human settlements, tools, pottery, and fossils that tell stories of how people lived, hunted, and adapted to changing climates over millennia. These findings offer invaluable insights into the development of humanity itself. Beyond history, the Sahara holds vast mineral wealth. Deposits of phosphates, iron ore, uranium, and gold lie beneath the surface, attracting mining industries that seek to balance economic development with environmental concerns. Hidden beneath the sands are also enormous underground aquifers, ancient reservoirs of fossil water that have been trapped for thousands, sometimes millions, of years. These aquifers are vital for sustaining life in the desert today, supplying oases and remote communities with precious water. In recent decades, new technologies such as satellite imaging and ground-penetrating radar have uncovered previously invisible landscapes, ancient riverbeds, lake basins, and even lost cities swallowed by the desert. The Sahara is much more than a desert of sand and heat, it is a vast archive of Earth's natural and human history. Its hidden treasures remind us that beneath the harsh surface lies a world waiting to be discovered, understood, and preserved. A vast ocean of sand and stone, is more than just the world's largest hot desert. It is a land of mysteries, extremes, and enduring beauty. Throughout our journey, we have explored its immense geography, its shifting landscapes, its ancient green past, and the people who have made it their home. Now, as the sun sets over the golden dunes, we pause to reflect on why the Sahara continues to capture the imagination of people across the globe. For many, the Sahara is a place of solitude and silence, where the wind whispers stories of time long past. Yet beneath this silence lies a rich tapestry of life, from the nomads who navigate the desert with star-guided wisdom, to the hidden oases bursting with greenery and life. The desert's extremes have shaped resilient cultures, inspiring art, music, and traditions that echo across generations. The Sahara's shifting sands and ancient rock art remind us that this land has a deep and layered history, one that connects us to early humans, past climates, and lost civilizations. Its hidden treasures tell a story not just of survival, but of flourishing in an environment that demands respect and adaptation. Yet, the Sahara is not untouched by modern challenges. Climate change, desertification, and growing human pressures threaten the fragile balance of this ecosystem and the communities that depend on it. But with challenge comes hope, through sustainable efforts like the Great Green Wall, renewable energy projects, and the preservation of cultural heritage, the desert's future is being shaped by both tradition and innovation. Sahara is a symbol of nature's power, of endurance, and of the profound connection between people and the land. It reminds us that even in the harshest places, life persists, adapts, and dreams. The desert is ever-changing, yet timeless, a place where the past and future meet beneath endless skies. As we leave the Sahara behind, its vastness stays with us, a desert of dreams and discovery, challenge and beauty. It calls us to remember the strength found in resilience, the wisdom of those who live close to the earth, and the enduring mystery of a land that will forever inspire all.